But hey, everybody, welcome to Get Your Gaming On. This is Aaron here with Get Your Geek On. I am here with Victoria again from Vic's Gaming Corner. How you doing,
Hey,
ma'ams?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm glad you're back here talking to us about video games again.
Yeah.
Especially with all this quarantining going on, I guess we could say. We have a topic today, guys. We're basically going to discuss the PS5 specs as well as the Xbox Series X specs. And see what we think about each one. Who may have the better hardware. Maybe that's about all we got right now, though, because there's no real first party games coming out. But before we,
That or yeah. You
there's
already know I'm
not.
going to start going on a rant about no reveal of what a product console looks like for one of them. So,
Yeah, I mean Xbox, small refrigerator,
so.
and
Yeah,
PlayStation, we don't know. But
the Xbox looks like one of those airported base stations. Do you remember when Apple first made them? They were
oh
these
my
long little
gosh,
white towers. It's exactly what it looks like to
I think
me.
you just showed both of
But
our
yeah.
age right there, because I barely remember that, and you remembered obviously.
That was a few years. Well, that was a few years ago. I mean, this is probably what 5 years ago that Apple designed something like that, and
Yeah,
then now they're smaller, obviously, just because the technology and the hardware you can make things smaller.
yeah,
But I'm more worried about how the air is going to flow through all of these consoles that are coming out. It's like they want to put everything jam packed tight in a little, cute little looking box. The
yeah,
thing I'm concerned is how long is the product going to last before it blows out? Is there
that's
enough
true.
room for airflow, etc.? Because
And
anything with a CPU in it is going to overheat.
right.
And my concern is how long is that going to take before it completely like zero shelf life?
And that is
I guess
true.
that's the way I want to phrase it. Yeah.
And we'll get into that power part to see exactly like what we think how much heat could be running through it possibly too, especially with some of their specs. But before we do that, I know everyone's sitting here in quarantine. Everyone's, locked down and all that, and we're gamers. And I want to know, what game do you think people should be playing right now while they're quarantined?
Well, my opinion on that is something that they're enjoying. Like, for example, myself, I love Pokemon, but it's nice to take a break from that too. As much as I like exploring, it's not as, it's an open world for the most part when you go in a wild area, but mainly the new release with Nintendo's Animal Crossing, I'm able to go to like a little mini personal escape, like a little personal island and explore and do things with friends and, do things that I can't do outside right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all stuck
So,
here. So
yeah, so
that
it's nice. It's nice to interact with them. I've been actually live streaming, so if you guys want to check out later today on the live stream, it'll be up.
well, by the time this video goes up, it'll be a different day. But what's your normal schedule so you could
Probably.
throw it out to them?
I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I usually try to keep a schedule between 7 to 9. Today, the Pokemon stream is probably going to be between 8 to 9. We're only doing about an hour of Pokemon today, but I will be after this podcast streaming Animal Crossing. Probably till a good while. I mean, I enjoy the game. I can spend hours in it, and it's quite easily to because there's a lot to do in there, especially within the first few days. But I enjoy it. I do. It's like a personal escape from a lot of the things that are going on out here, and you just kind of become focused on tasks that you have to do in a game. And
Yeah,
it's kind of repetitive, but I do enjoy it because at least you're doing something in the game and you're having fun and you're interacting with other people. And apparently, you
exactly.
can have up to 7 additional players come and join you on your
Ooh,
island and run around and cause
that's always
havoc.
fun.
So,
See,
yeah.
my thing right now is, I mean, I'm working at home too for my normal job. I actually have been
Mhm.
really enjoying the Game Pass from Xbox, so I can download any game I want and just basically play from there. So I've been actually playing
Ooh,
Halo 5. I've been replaying that one. Even though it's not the
nice.
best, but it was one of those ones, you know what? I need my Halo fix. I really downloaded the Master Chief Collection so I could go play all the old Halo games. Um,
Yeah.
what else am I playing from that? Oh, I just
Ori. I
download.
forgot.
Oh yeah, Ori's out
Ori,
there.
the Will of the Wisps is out there on Xbox, and I have that pending on my Xbox One in my room, and I kind of want to crack that one open. Although, I
Do
did enjoy the
it.
Blind Forest, and I'm still obviously completing that. But that one's out too, and that one is a very fun one. It's kind of like what Mario is, but there's a lot more things to do in it aside from jumping. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I have a very, very, very big love for Mario, but Yeah, Ori is out too.
That would
That's
be fun
another
to
fun
check
one I
out.
want to take a crack at. Yep.
I need to check that one out too. Like I said, I've been playing any of those. So if you have an Xbox and you don't have Game Pass, I strongly recommend to get that Xbox Game Pass because that will give you hundreds of games. They're not a sponsor, but Xbox, if you are listening, I would like that, by the way. um, but
Wouldn't we all?
right, but let's get to it. So they released the Xbox Series X, all their specs a while back, but PlayStation just dropped it. And you're my PlayStation
Yeah.
expert here. You know the PlayStation. You love it for whatever paperweight reason you have. What did you think?
Before we jump into the set,
Yeah.
I tried to stomach the presentation. I really tried to. But the guy, I know he's a genius. He's amazing. His brain is phenomenal. But when it comes to listening to him talk about certain specs for a very long time, it's frustrating because you're waiting for a product reveal or some exciting news, and all you get is a really long dialogue of the internals. But the internals aren't bad from what we're looking at here. You've got 8 times Zen 2 cores. So it's a little less on the CPU than the Xbox, but it should be pretty close on the speed there. Let's see, GPU. The Xbox has 12 and
yeah, it's
the
running
PS5
12
has
teraflops.
10. But let's see. This is where he was talking about that variable frequency thing. So he's talking about the way that their frequencies were is that it may not make the games run properly if it were to go over 2.23 gigahertz. I mean, I literally sat there and listened to this. This is why I'm like, oh, I remember a side note here. So they had to restrict it at 2.23 gigahertz for the variable frequency to keep the games running properly without any kind of issues. And that's something that they're going to be restrictive of. Now, will they open it up in the future? I have no idea. But the PS5 is capable of going more than 2.23 gigahertz on the GPU, but it's not recommended. So I think that they're, kind of doing a tight hold on that with the devs, at least from what I can gather in the presentation.
Yeah.
The memory, they're equivalent on the memory, I think. So
well, you got
that part
16 gigabytes of RAM, I believe, right? Yeah, 16
yeah,
on both.
I think they're going to be, neck and neck when it comes to some of these internals.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because I think
memory bandwidth.
Let me see.
Wow, look at that. The PlayStation has a better memory bandwidth than the Xbox Series X.
Well, it depends because it's
bad.
running 440. See, that's the thing. The bandwidth for that one's at 448 gigabytes per second, but the Xbox does 10 gigabytes at 560 gigabytes per second, and then 8 gigabytes at 338. So it's gonna have a variable speed like that. It'll be faster for a little bit, and then it looks like it drops. Which you're right, it will be slower, but that is just the bandwidth.
The PlayStation 5 isn't really giving an approximate on how they're breaking that segment up on the 448 gigabytes. So we shall see. Like I said, they're neck and neck on the stack.
Now, here's one thing I do want to think.
Storage. I think internal storage, Xbox wins on that just because,
they went with the full terabyte. And I don't get...
They talked about the SSD.
I mean, they both have SSD drives. And they're both custom, but I didn't get why PlayStation went with 825. That's a really weird, odd number.
That.
Like, I've never seen that.
I agree.
It's like, it's usually double. It's usually like, what is it, 125, 250, and then 500, and then it usually jumps up to 1 terabyte, maybe 750 sometimes. But like, 825? It's like, who flipped a coin and lost that?
I have no idea. And I don't know if it was just so that way they can keep the console at an affordable price. Who knows?
But
I'm scratching my head on that one too. I'm just like, what?
We don't want to be like Xbox. We're not going to do 1 terabyte. We're going to do 825 gigs. Okay.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
We're gonna be special.
We are. We like this, guys. They were so dumb. I don't get that part. I will poke fun at that one. But
so let's see, expandable storage is the next thing I want to talk about. Okay. When I was watching their video, they were talking about how you have to have a SSD that's going to be equivalent of matching their output, because it's a unique way, however he explained the SSD, it has to be pretty much matching so that way they can keep up with the speeds with what he was saying as far as on the output of the game and stuff like that. So I was like, okay.
By
so
matching,
I have to go and literally hunt for a SSD that's going to match the PS5 SSD internals. Like,
so you have to find like an 825 gigabyte SSD drive. Is that what they mean?
Not necessarily an 825, but more like the specs on the SSD. You know how SSD have read and writable speeds and custom things. So I think that's what he was really referring to in the video.
Right.
I can watch it, but honestly, it's agonizing to watch it. There's no other way.
Yeah.
It's agonizing. I was so excited because I was looking for a product reveal. Nope, all I got was specs reveals.
Hey, but it still works. It still gives you some info.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much hold on to what I felt I needed to know about the PlayStation 5. A lot of rumors are speculating that there's no backwards compatibility. Xbox is going to win in that. So, some people who want to just basically carry on the games they already have, or, even the Xbox Pass, that's going to be great. Like, I'm not going to upgrade the Xbox. I just got mine, and it was a wonderful gift. So I'm not, I have no need to upgrade to all of that. One, I don't have an 8K TV, so, gosh. I don't need to upgrade.
Not right now, at least, for sure.
Yeah, some people may want that. They're early adopters, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I'm content. Now the optical drive, they both have the same 4K UHD Blu-ray drive.
Right. PlayStation finally caught up.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm finally glad that they're going to have one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I'm concerned about with the Xbox Series X for those people who, they hear 8K gaming and they're going to go out and, try to look for an 8K TV. Good luck, because those things are going to break your pocket.
Yeah, they're like, I think 3,000 was the last one I was looking at one time, just for shits and giggles, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, ouch my wallet when it comes to an 8K TV. Not that I need it, because 4K is more than enough for the human eye in a viewing home. I mean, you're not going to literally sit that close to a TV and count every single pixel.
Yeah, I mean, and
realistic here.
Once you hit 4K, it's very hard for the naked eye to tell the difference, even between 1080 and 4K. I can kind of see it, but when I was looking at 4K and 8K, I honestly could barely tell the difference. I'm like, I'm paying an extra $1,500 for this, and I can barely tell. And they say once you hit a certain level of pixelation like that, the human eye almost can't tell the difference. Only like a few people in the world can tell, probably.
And those are people who have probably amazing looking eyes because
yeah, like that's their job. They probably do that for a living.
Most of the consumers, you're not going to need all that, But if that's what floats your boat and you want the latest and greatest and you can keep up with the Joneses, it's good for you. But
and see, so
I salute you. Help me out here.
Exactly. It's like
right.
And real quick, before we kind of compare everything side by side, let me go over some of the Xbox stuff for those who don't know, because Xbox is my jam. The CPU, you are looking at 8 cores, just like the PlayStation, but it is running at 3.8 gigahertz versus the 3.5 at variable for them. That it is running the 12 teraflops for the GPU, the 16 gigabytes of RAM, the bandwidth, like we said earlier, 10 gigabytes at 560 gigabytes per second, 8 gigs at 338 gigabytes. Internal storage is a 1 terabyte custom NVMe SSD.
That was nice.
Yeah, I mean the Xbox, they realized 500 gigs wasn't enough, so they've been jumping to that terabyte.
Well, you know what I think Xbox is doing, and I think that this is where they're in a league of their own, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're leaning more towards the specs on how PC gamers are versus what PlayStation is doing. Although PlayStation is starting to get the indication, which I wish that we can maybe, take the shell that whatever this mock-up that they have for the PS5 going out there, I wish we can put it in an actual PC case and add our own fans and stuff. And kind of like what Origin PC is doing. But I would love to do that just to make sure that it's running at a cool temperature. Like that, for me, I would totally buy either console and put it in a case and, show it off and, stream from it, because that's almost equivalent of a CPU. And Xbox realizes that, and not only that, but the Xbox Game Pass is not just good for the Xbox now; it's also good for PCs. Like that's a beta that they're running right now, and they realize this. They realize that most people prefer to play on a PC. That most people are in front of a PC streaming, etc. Things are more accessible on PC. So there's a market for that for Xbox. So they're not in competition with PlayStation and Nintendo. They're in competition with themselves on the PC.
I mean, and that's true. I mean, that's where I think Microsoft does shine. Like you said, they are kind of thinking more computer, but keeping it into console realm, and they have the computer backing to help them out.
Exactly. And they know the ins and outs of their Windows platform. So, it's not really a competition for them. The fact that they have backwards compatibility is a plus. I hate to say it, but it's a freaking plus. I just wish PlayStation would, kind of follow suit. I know PlayStation has more, AAA releases?
Yeah.
As far as video games go. And they do. Their games are amazing, but at some point, down the road, some of those developers start developing it for other consoles, and it's no longer exclusive to a specific console.
Well, anymore. And that's why...
Like, look at...
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, look at what Xbox is doing. They just released Ori, Will of the Wisps, right?
Yeah.
But if you look, it was literally restricted to... The Ori Blind Forest was restricted to Xbox for so long, and then they ported it over to PlayStation. Ported it over to Nintendo Switch. So it's only imminent before we see these things starting to show up on different platforms. So, I hate to say you're right about Xbox.
Oh, I know.
I do. I do.
Yo,
but
I know.
Right. Xbox is probably, for people who want to be able to carry on with the games they already played, the trophies they've already achieved, they may want to lean more towards the Xbox. But if you're like me and you're a diehard PlayStation person, then I'm going to probably be an early adopter in the PS5 just because, I love PlayStation and I want to see good changes. If not, I may, start buying all of the games that I have that are now coming out on the Xbox and just be an Xbox only person. But the only reason I'm not is because there's some exclusives that I have on PlayStation.
And they have it. I mean, you kind of hit it on the dot because, as much as we're talking about specs, finishing out the Xbox, 1 terabyte expandable drive has to match as well. But they actually have external storage as a USB 3.2, external HDD support, unlike the PlayStation, I think just has the USB HDD support. And then, of course, they both have the same optical drive. But as much as this is about specs, and I wanted to talk about that because now we got kind of the specs out there, which if you do watch us on, or I'm sorry, listen to us on this podcast, you can probably see the comments below. I'll have a link to where you could go check our post out that has the side-by-side comparison of all the specs. But you hit it on the dot because the fact is, as much as this is about specs, this is also about games. So Microsoft in the last couple of years has bought 4 or 5, I believe, companies on their own. So like you said, some games go over. No, they own these companies. Those games will never go over because now they own those companies, meaning they're all now first party exclusives. Xbox has at least a dozen or so exclusive game companies to them that they can never lose because, well, they own those. PlayStation has a few, but at the same time, I have both consoles. I only have like 3 games for my PlayStation, and that's it. Because there's just nothing else. I know, you keep
trying to get me to play Dead by Daylight on Xbox.
Because it's free. You can go on Game Pass and download it for free. My streaming setup has my Xbox right here next to me hooked up, and we could start playing it. But like you said...
mine has my PlayStation.
See, because we're both on different ones. This is why she's our PlayStation expert, and I'm the Xbox expert right here. So...
But the other reason why I'm sticking with PlayStation is because I already know, and you know how much I love Final Fantasy, right? So Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming out on the PlayStation 4.
In like 10 more years.
I'm wondering when the PlayStation 5 comes out, all the new episodes will more than likely be ported over to the PS5 as well. So I have a huge library on my PlayStation 4, and so I'm hoping that also is going to be carried over to the PS5. If it's anything like what the PS3 was, where I cannot do backwards compatibility via my library from the PS3, I'm hoping at some point, these developers like Square Enix, etc., and I'm throwing out big names, will port these games over to Xbox, like they did with Kingdom Hearts 3 and From what I understand, the all-in-one
yes.
package is coming over to the Xbox as well. And I hate to say it, but the way that the Xbox renders things, like, it is night and day on my PlayStation. My PlayStation is still making a loud fan sound after I switched it out. But when I'm in my room, I can't even hear my Xbox. Like,
So
I
you're
really
saying Xbox
can't.
might be better? Yes, you're right. It is. So one thing I do want to touch on is we do know exactly what the Xbox is going to look like. The big cube-looking thing. Well, not even a cube. It's more of a rectangular
and
prism.
see, that's
And it doesn't look good. I will say the Xbox Series X does not look great. But I'm sorry, if these pictures of the PlayStation 5 out there are correct as well, I don't
looks like
know.
that ship from Halo, like you said.
So if you haven't seen, guys, again, that picture will also be up on the links on our podcast details if you want to check those out.
One thing I hope.
What's up?
For both consoles, the one thing that I could hope is, I know Xbox is on the right track when it comes to competing between PC gamers and their own, platform.
Right.
I hope that they let you switch what's in that box out into a PC case. Like, maybe they can design a PC case where you can put fans in and just hook those internals up, so that way it can be a PC case to show it off. That way you don't have to reach out to other, third parties. Hey, modify my system, do this, breaking warranty. Like, I would love for PlayStation to do that too. Mainly because when you have like and you know this as well as I do when it comes to PC, some people are into water cooling to keep their temperatures extremely low. And some people do the airflow. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. But I would wish that moving forward, they would let us put our consoles in a true, legitimate PC case. And the reason being is it will keep the temperatures low. It will preserve the longevity of that platform.
And that's the thing.
I'm guessing that the platform is probably going to last us a good 5 to 7 years. And that's just my guess. That's just a guess. Now, don't go and say this is how it's going to be, because we don't know. We're not in the future yet.
Right. And
but that's my speculation.
And the thing is, the generations for consoles has kind of died down. It's kind of changed over the years. So, I mean, it used to be every so many years we got a console. We knew, okay, it's coming out this year. Well, Xbox 360 kind of really threw a wrench in that, because that was probably the longest living console they had. I think that lasted for almost 10 years before it finally was like officially like, okay, we're not supporting it. And I think even then Xbox is still supporting it somewhere, or Microsoft. As it comes to case modding, put it in a PC. I mean, Origin did do a PS4 and an Xbox in there. Like you said, there was a lot of custom build, and that was just one PC they did. They didn't actually make it available for purchase, because I'm sure there was licensing deals or something.
But they're doing, and I've noticed this, and this is with the platform for PS4 and Xbox. They're doing them separate now. They're not doing a combined console like they did for that one person on that thing that they previewed with the Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. They're not doing that. What they're doing is they're either doing a custom PS4 with a PC or a custom Xbox with a PC. If I had to choose between an Origin PC, I would choose the one with the PS4, mainly because you can already run the PC games on the PC version, which is run through Xbox.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is,
logically.
And the thing is with Origin, so let's say you did if someone could do that mod, like say you call Origin, you get the PS4 mod. The thing is, if you build it strong enough, there is Game Pass on your PC. So you get both of them. Yep. So Xbox is already kind of melting those barriers down to where it's like, I can be on PC and still play with my Xbox friends because I have Game Pass. Well, I'm buying Game Pass.
Right.
Like, I know when I played Gears of War, the newest one, the 5 or whatever, we were playing with PC players. Now, don't get me wrong, that keyboard and mouse precision freaking kills you, but
the other thing is you're able to communicate with the people in your Discord too, like chats or mixers, etc. So that's a plus, because you're right there in front of your screens and you're gaming. So that's a plus on the PC side. And, essentially, I'm more than likely going to go over to the dark side via PC.
Welcome to the dark side.
My part.
Welcome.
Looks like it's sponsored.
That was my one chance of saying welcome and actually using that voice for it.
I knew you were waiting for it too.
Welcome.
You love, and
what
I
are you
hate
buying?
To admit when you're right.
What are you buying? That Xbox? Yeah, you are. That's what she's gonna be doing. I'd be outside that Walmart or Best Buy, like, yeah, I told you you're buying that. Told you.
Yeah.
So
you would.
we got a few minutes remaining. So in the end, after watching the PlayStation presentation, and I'm sure you didn't watch the Xbox one, but do you have any confidence that this PlayStation 5 is going to be revolutionary for the system? Do you think it's going to be a step back? Because I know Xbox is ready for their backwards capability, but I don't think PlayStation is playing so
Yeah, I
nice.
don't think PlayStation's going to lean towards it. I think that they just want to constantly evolve. So the architecture and the formats that they develop for their current gen aren't going to be something that they're probably going to create for their newer gen. And that's just something I've noticed with
Yeah,
PlayStation. So, it's really up to the developers if they want to port those things over. And it's a sad little thing. But Xbox, I think, prides themselves on backwards compatibility because they know that's what people want. And PlayStation, I don't really think that they're necessarily going to give us exactly what we want, but what they feel we should be adopting. So it's kind of a hand toss on that because it's right now rumors that there's no backwards compatibility. Um,
yeah, that's
we shall see. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen until it actually comes out.
that is
But
true.
my only hope is that they would have backwards compatibility. I mean, in this point in the console wars, it would be, I don't know. I mean, PlayStation 5, if it disappoints and they don't have those kind of things, I may just start purchasing everything via PC and just build my custom PC and probably just stick with the Nintendo console.
I
And I
mean,
hate
that's
to say
sad.
that. Yeah, and they would lose a long time customer, and I don't want to have to constantly buy different consoles for different things. So, PC you don't really have to worry about that because you could wait a good year or two, and then you can modify the games to make them look even better and run really great. You just have to have patience for when you release to an actual PC. Um, but most of the games, like the exclusives and stuff, I really, really hope at some point the developers decide, okay, we've had this out for a year, let's go ahead and open up the floor to, other consoles. Because there's exclusivity, and then there's like, what's the other word that I'm thinking of aside from exclusive,
Um,
where they just stick to that one console and nothing else
no, that's
aside from
exclusives. I mean, first
exclusive?
party is the other term for it. First party games.
Yeah, maybe that's the word I was thinking of. Um, it would be great, if they could figure out the backwards compatibility. That's all I'm saying. Because if not, there's a huge library on Steam or even Xbox because you can do the Xbox Game Pass on PC and play directly from the PC.
Exactly, and
So
that's
I don't know.
they're like I said, they're melting those
It
barriers. PlayStation still has them up, and I think the other big thing
yeah,
too is it's going to come down to indie games. Where are those indie developers going to go? Who's going to welcome them? And how well they did on the 360. It was the Xbox 360 versus PlayStation 3. I think this console generation was a little bit more PS4, but it's kind of shifted back to the Xbox, and Nintendo even is getting into that market. So I know in the
I
end, it
can
may
see
not even be.
something bright for Nintendo. That's all I can say is Nintendo, it's in its own world. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like,
No, not
Nintendo
at
has its
all.
own bubble. And it's not just kid friendly, it's family friendly. So, their games, they're designed to be fun for you. They're not designed to
Yeah,
be competing with graphics, etc. They're designed to be fun. And hence why I'm always going to have a Nintendo above anything.
yeah. No, and I agree with that. I agree. Nintendo's in their own little field, and they're good. They're happy where they are. So that's why we're comparing the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox
But
Series
I
X.
do have
So
a hunch when it comes to Nintendo, outside of the console wars between specs and graphics between PlayStation and Xbox or PC for that matter,
yeah,
I have a feeling that Nintendo is going to up the ante on theirs and they're probably going to come out with something that's going to blow our minds. And that's just a suspicion. Now,
yeah,
do I know if it's a new product? I don't know. Is it going to be a Switch Pro upgrade? I don't know. There's rumors and talks about it, but we haven't heard anything from Nintendo. And Nintendo is always tight-lipped unless they personally want to release their own leaks. That's just how they roll.
yeah, exactly.
So
So
we shall see.
we
Their
will
future is full of endless possibilities, and I can tell you that I can see nothing but good things for Nintendo.
exactly.
Xbox is definitely, if I had to choose between console wars and the backwards compatibility, right now Xbox has that.
Yeah,
PlayStation, if the PS5 disappoints, I'm more
we'll
than
see.
likely going to save my pennies and start doing everything from Xbox. But, we'll see. We'll see. Because, when it comes out, I'm still going to buy the PS5.
Hold on. Yeah, exactly. Hold on 1 second. So I'm going to edit this little part out. Okay. So on that note, guys, we are going to end it here because, yeah, I'm trying to keep these shows short so y'all enjoy it.
Yeah.
And basically, what I'm thinking is right now, we're still kind of at that stalemate with both of them. So once those first party games come out, I think that's when we'll get a better idea. But again, where can they find you at if they want to watch you stream? What's your link at? Where are you at? How do they find you?
Usually just kind of go on whichever streaming system. I use Restream, so I stream on Periscope via Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, gaming. Let's see, Mixer.
Well, what's your and where do they find you at? Vic's Gaming Corner, right? VICS Gaming Corner.
So it's Vic's, like VIC and then S. I can't put apostrophe in there, but if I could, it would have that. But it's Vic's Gaming Corner. So, literally VICS GAMINGCORNER. And you'll find me. You'll be able to tune in. Maybe do a little speed escape to the Animal Crossing island that I built. I called it Happy because it's my happy place.
Yeah.
If you want to tune in, you're more than welcome to.
Well,
and
cool.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm always happy to have you here.
About the specs. And I hate to admit, maybe with this console where you might be right on the Xbox, I think Xbox is right on the money this year.
Always right.
So we'll see.
Right.
I'm still going to do the early adoption of PlayStation 5. I mean, I'm a diehard PlayStation person, but I'm starting to lean off of them. So
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, cool. Well, thank you again, and guys, join us next week. We'll have another video up and talking about some more gaming stuff, guys. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy these videos. Or audio podcasts essentially, and videos on YouTube if you're watching us there. But definitely, guys, enjoy and remember, stay geeky, guys. And from Get Your Geek On and Vic's Gaming Corner, y'all have a great one and stay safe out there.
Take care.